Mark Twain said, the right word may be effective, but no word is ever as effective as a rightly timed pause. So I'll stop here. Thank you for coming. Yes, I just paused. We often do. In our relations, in our discussions, in our time free, in our time busy, we just stop. And stopping is a good way to take some time to reflect and correct our mistakes or whatever we wanted to achieve. It's the best way to rework what we've done. Not to regret, but to really correct that path. A recent study has shown in Frontiers in Psychology that all pause durations of 0.6 seconds for non-native speakers seem to make their English appear more natural, changing the reality for them and their listeners. Welcome. I'm Rabih Khoury. I'm a lecturer here at TEDxHECMontréal. I'm a strategy consultant. I'm a former executive at a Fortune 200 company. But that's just partly who I am. I'm very proud to say I'm a 3-time immigrant. And I'd love to pause. Pausing is a way to actually revisit our quotidian, but it's a very awkward proposal in the time we live, in that spinning world where information is constant flow, where we're inundated by things every day, every second, through our phone and other technologies. It's very awkward to say that, but at the same time, pausing is what allows us to actually look at this and reflect. And my key contention today is to say that while doing this, we should not forget our past. Our past actually is feeding our present and future. And by doing so, we can make sense. How do we actually distinguish between facts and chimera? How do we make the right decision with the information we have? And pausing is a key. And I'm going to spend a few minutes explaining what I mean. I think that the key component here is taking this pause to really think, what do I want to say? Often in the mirror, we looked at the mirror and said, how do I look? And it should be, what do I look for? What do I look for in my life, in our interactions, in the people I'm meeting? What do I look for in terms of what I want to tell, my story? So what's my story? As a child, I used to pause an indecent amount of time. They call me a daydreamer. Maybe I was just evading the bleak quotidian of a civil war. Maybe I was just trying to create that more peaceful world, safer world for myself. And a good friend of mine called me the chameleon. I think that the key here is whether we believe we're chameleon or not, we need to seek that story to tell. And let me tell you a bit about my story then. During that civil war, my parents decided to take us away in a sort of retreat in the mountains one day to reflect upon the future, our future, and to ponder what kind of sacrifices they were going to make for my siblings and I to have an opportunity to have a better future. My world would change forever. We left our families, our friends, our home, our schools, and what felt like a piece of us. They planted a seed, and change would become the new norm. Fast forward years later, I'm still living, seeking that true identity, going back to my past, to my roots, and trying to understand and making sense out of it. Herminia Ibarra, who's an economist at the London School, said that what's happening reveals emerging possibilities to all of us. What we are doing, what we're experiencing, is allowing us to have a better knowledge, a deeper knowledge of ourselves. And I truly believe this is helpful. If we were to do this, individually and collectively, we would find out that there are indeed emerging possibilities to all of us. I here stand today before you, very conscious of my privilege to share my experience and learn from yours. And all the speakers that came before me touch my heart and my soul by their experience. Our experiences define also what we can do and how we can influence others by pausing and reflecting. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." And I'm trying, through my own narrative, to understand what's my why. So I want to leave you today with your thoughts. What's your story? What's your why? How much conscious are we about how we can nurture our present and future? If our grandchildren ask us one day, did you actually live in accordance with your values? Did you actually try to achieve what you want to aspire to be? What would we tell them? It really depends. But I think we should be able to start the conversation by saying, I became conscious at one point of what I can bring to me and my surrounding. And that consciousness is really what feeds us. I truly believe that humankind history has showed us that the fittest survive. Going forward, the most conscious will thrive. It's a good time to pause. Thank you so much.